Joining me in the studio today is the founder of G2G Ventures, and we're going to be discussing a very cool incubator program he has called Equity in Entrepreneurship. Josh Ray, welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Cool. So, we talked last week, and it was pretty impressive. You basically built an entire accelerator program on your own, got it funded, and some of the names you have teaching in some of the classes are some pretty badass folks. So how? I guess let's dig in first with what was the impetus to even stand up something like this?
Passion, 100% passion. I love it, and I wanted to take the skills I have and help others with them.
And so when you think about the passion that you had, why did it express itself specifically that way? Why an accelerator? Why an equity-themed accelerator? Yeah.
The equity themes for me it was to create more access to maybe those folks who don't have the friends and family rounds, and really the idea of fairness, and everyone should get a fair shot at their dreams, and that was really the driving force for me. I just put boots on the ground and started talking to people. Luckily, I know a few folks around who were willing to help and donate their time or give their time, and yeah.
So when we talk about fairness, and I'm involved with seed funders, and we have a fund there, an opportunity fund, and the idea is that on the whole, statistically, African American founders don't have access to as much friends and family money as other demographics, and so the idea is just to balance that out a little bit and step in at that place, that sort of friends and family round, and help make up some of that gap. Is that basically?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And then the funding is one piece of it. So to bring the funding in, but you actually took it a step further, and you built programming out to help the company. So why did you want to go through that sort of big effort to push all that out? And what was the philosophy that guided your content?
Well, my background is in the early stage startups. I did study at USF. I did their entrepreneurship program there. I've done some I-Corp work with the National Science Foundation. So my experiences, I realized that my biggest area of influence could be helping others with what I know. And so it was really that drive to share what I know with others that are in this space that might not have had access or the opportunities I've had. And so that was really the root driving force there.
I mean, it's a lot of work. How many weeks is what's sort of the skeleton of the program?
It's 10 weeks. And I've taken the curriculum or the training program, the topics, and I basically put it into a process from, kind of where you want to start to where you want to end to implement the potential growth of your startup. And it was all from experiences of my own, trial and error, some of my education. And so we put that together in 10 weeks, packed it up, and started to deliver it to the folks in the community.
And a name drop, if you got some pretty skilled folks that jumped in to help with the curriculum. You had Andy Gold, you had Shane Smith from Jim Moran Institute. That's pretty cool. How did you go about trying to recruit people into the program?
I luckily know Dr. Gold and Dr. Smith from 1 Million Cups and the ECC community. And so we actually, at the end of our 10-week program, do a presentation with 1 Million Cups. And so that partnership we created, it kind of was an easy way to usher them in, to also have them help and give back. And Shane loves to talk about the business model canvas. Dr. Gold loves to talk about design thinking. And those were two key topics that we wanted to cover. And so it kind of just fit.
And what kind of companies were you targeting? How did you go out and source your companies through 1 Million Cups, or did you have some other avenues?
Mostly the community. We work with a few other nonprofits in the area, and they have a large, robust network of individuals who maybe had an idea, or maybe were kicking the rocks on some idea or small business side hustle. And we said, look, join our program. We can at least help you get more of a foundation, more of a traction on your business model, some better direction. And so we just kind of used our network to attract the folks we've worked with.
And funding-wise, you made it free to the people that participated?
Initially, and that was not a good model.
Yeah, it's tough to be sustainable. You got a little bit of sponsorship, but you really had to grind it out and bootstrap it for the first couple of years.
Oh, we're still bootstrapping.
We're still bootstrapping. And so right now you're in a situation where you've run 2 cohorts now, 2 years, and you're getting back into looking for the right funding model, the right revenue model to keep it going and do the next third, fourth, and fifth one.
We just started our third one last week, and we are in the stretch of needing more funding, as always. But we did just launch the third cohort. We've got 8 new small startups who are just diving into the early stage. Some of them are first-time entrepreneurs, so they're just going in head first. And
well, let's just so that people, if they want to support, they can. We'll put the website at the bottom. That's the best place to get in touch with you.
yeah.
Okay, and so that'll be there. And I'm also, just because you built this from the ground up, how much has it changed from cohort 1 to cohort 3? How much did you learn? Anything unexpected?
Tons of stuff. I mean, having people have a buy-in for themselves, having put them a little skin in the game, they are much more attentive, they are much more focused and engaged. And so that was key. That was a great learning experience to actually put a fee to it and encourage the folks to pay for the fee, work with them in a payment plan of some sorts, or just say, look, it's not all about the money, but if you don't buy in for yourself, how can anybody else buy in for you? And that was a great learning experience from cohort 1 to cohort 2. The growth of people, right? Learning some of these different topics, different ways of thinking. You can see from week 1 to week 10, they may not succeed in their business, but they are better positioned themselves for a lot of new growth as a person. And that's been a great learning experience as well, to see the growth of people.
Because a lot of times founders hit on their second or third try, right?
Right.
But they wouldn't have gotten there if they didn't have the experience of their first or second try.
Absolutely.
And and because of that, because there's so much and so many different responsibilities that founders have, that takes a big toll. They come in with a specific passion and realize they have to do all this other stuff, from accounting to making sure there's toilet paper in the bathroom. So how much did you find it being really psychological support and just that community and that that place to be and that place to bounce against?
Tremendous a lot. We emphasize entrepreneurial thinking, the entrepreneurial mindset. That's how we start. And we carry that theme throughout the entire program. Because really, to be an entrepreneur, it's a mindset in a lot of ways. And we emphasize it's about what your customers want, and it's about the way you, as an individual, as an early stage founder, an entrepreneur, go about your thinking. If you're optimistic, if you're positive, if you have that bright outlook, good things are going to happen. But if you're maybe pessimistic or negative, the odds are it's not going to work out. And so we instill that way of thinking.
Right, and I would assume that a big part of that is just being open to learn and to change and to pivot and
Absolutely.
To be resilient.
I've got a few stories of folks not wanting to be open and pivoting, and it was a challenge. So yes.
So who are the right companies? So if somebody's watching this and they think is this a good fit for me, what is sort of the right what are you looking for in the companies?
Early stage. You don't have to be tech, preferably non-tech, and the food focused. We've worked with a few food companies. We'd like to do more work with food companies, and/or non-tech, service-based. We worked with a home watching company. Actually, they are out here. They're located in St. Pete. And other companies that provide value to the community. Maybe it's a hair salon, or it's some sort of daycare center or something like that. Those would be the types that we would want to work with.
And that's a really important area, because so many of the funds are looking for that scalable tech, because obviously the big returns are there.
Right.
But the nuts and bolts folks that are taking care of your hair and taking care of your food and they do create jobs and they do form the fabric of our community, and they don't often get the support for them as entrepreneurs that a lot of the rocket ship type companies do.
Right. It's all about the community with us. And that's where we emphasize the community development, community growth, especially where we operate out of, which is in the uptown Tampa area. The redevelopment happening there is exciting, but we want to be inclusive. And the people that live there, we want to create opportunities for them to stay in that area as it develops and maybe create a business for themselves, create jobs for others. Whereas the community redevelops, the individuals that have been there for 10, 20 years grow with it. And that's the idea.
So at this point, it is equity in entrepreneurship. Do you just tend to market to certain demographics, or will you only accept certain demographics?
We accept anyone, yes, but the primary focus is on the underrepresented or the underserved. Those are both kind of open for interpretation, but anybody who feels that they maybe have not had a fair shot at pursuing their idea or their business, we'll work with them.
That's great. Well, really impressive. Again, just bootstrapping this thing up, developing the program, getting the folks on board, going on to your third cohort now. A lot of determination, and it's a real asset. It's something that's needed, and you're digging into places that not a lot of entrepreneurial help gets to. So, thank you for doing that.
Thanks.
And we'll continue to follow your progress and support you however we can.
Appreciate that.
Josh Ray, thanks for joining me on Impact Catalyst.
Thank you. Have a beer.